What time is it? It's time for another Every Other Wednesday.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Just come on in. We're just getting started. We'll be starting in about 1 minute.
Yeah.
As everyone comes in, as you can see, we have a guest host with us today, and that's going to liven up the discussion, and we're going to have a great time.
You can also see we're missing two of our colleagues.
Yes, we are. Yes,
That
we're
means
missing. We're missing Sanjay and what's the other guys? Oh yeah, Mike.
Yeah,
Sanjay
Mike, yeah.
and Mike. They're both gainfully employed today, and
And we're not.
Jeff and I instead are here to host Kelly and everyone else who is coming in. So
go ahead.
Jeff. No, you go ahead.
Go ahead. So here's the challenge. We forgot to come up with a question, which we always do.
Yeah.
So that's okay. As we were coming out of the green room, we said, but instead, why don't you post in the chat the question that you'd like answered from everybody? And now, remember, this is a family-friendly show. So
that's right. But we want to hear a question posed from someone in the audience. And those of you who are regulars, the kinds of questions that we generally have. So come up with something and see what you can ask us.
Yeah. Look at that. The questions are just flying in. So.
There we go. I see our list of attendees, a lot of regulars today.
Yeah.
And others will be coming in. The list keeps growing every second or two. So anyway, well, we're going to wait just another few moments for someone to ask a question for the entire group. And if we don't have one, we're going to go ahead and jump right in with our guest.
Do you have a date sign?
No, I don't have a date sign. That's Mike's job. Come on, listen. I mean, everything has been outsourced to AI anyway.
Right.
So, I just feel like Mike needs to do that.
Okay.
Are you making a sign for us, Jeff?
Of course I am. All right, there's our sign.
All right, our sign. Good afternoon or good morning to everyone here. Today is October 1st, 2025, and this is Every Other Wednesday. Thank you for being here. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and start things off. We don't have a question, so we'll just plow into the meat of the episode today.
Wait, Richard, have you ever seen a blank chat screen? I've never, for this group, never.
Oh no,
they say hello to each other.
They're all vibing on fall here, I think.
Right.
I mean, how can we not come up with a question? I don't know. Apples or pumpkins?
There's
I mean, something.
Sure. Fritz is chirping. So there must be birds where Fritz is.
Right.
Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Haddon, and I'm an author and speaker. I wrote Contented Cows Still Give Better Milk. I talk about employee engagement, recruiting, and retention in the age of AI where no employees are going to be necessary. No, that's not true, but we're trying to figure out what all of that means. And let me turn it over to Jeff.
Yeah, Anna Wildman said it's a glass of wine time in the UK. So
yes, I know.
It's also a glass of wine time in Pittsburgh. I don't know if you knew that, but
no, it's just still water time here. And by the way, I forgot to mention, thank you, Anna, for prompting me on this. That I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, where glass of wine time does not happen for about 4 or 5 more hours.
Okay, you can wait. Anyway, I'm Jeff Tobe. Welcome, everybody. I am Coloring Outside the Lines. I'm a professional speaker in the area of customer experience and leadership. I have a new book out I'm very excited about, forgot to plug, and that is called The Lemonade Stand, Customer Experience Lessons from a 9-Year-Old Entrepreneur. It's just published 2 weeks ago. Very excited about that. But I'm more excited to introduce our guest today. Kelli Risse is the CEO of Winning in Business, a leadership keynote speaker, a peak performance business coach who helps leaders, business owners, and organizations avoid burnout, retain top talent, and maximize performance. I want to start rumors, Richard. Kelli and I spent a weekend together in Virginia only a couple months ago. So,
oh wow.
Okay, we were at a conference. Don't let your
imaginations run too wild.
That's where we met. She is a certified emotional intelligence and employee engagement consultant. and a stress mastery expert. Kelli is the best-selling author of Succeed with Ease, Mindset Mastery. She's the host of the podcast Winning in Business, and she hasn't had either one of us as a guest yet, Richard. And she's been featured on ABC, NBC, Fox, and CBS. She equips teams with practical tools to move from high achiever pressure to peak performer results. And we are so excited to have you, Kelli.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
You're coming from Los Angeles.
Yeah, where is here?
I'm coming in from Missouri.
Missouri. Okay.
Yes, the Midwest.
Excellent. Can you lower blood pressure, Kelli? Congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you. Yep, it's a series, and I have 3 more coming out.
Excellent. Wow.
Yeah, excited about that.
So, Richard, questions. Let's get right into it.
I mean, let's talk about burnout. I have felt burnout. I'm sure everyone in our audience has felt burnout. I'm wondering first, so that we can all be kind of from the same level, how do you define burnout?
Yeah.
Kelli?
So I like to define burnout as when it's chronic stress. Your body feels everything. You have a lot of health problems. You are emotionally drained, mentally drained. You start feeling very resentful about
Wait, I call that parenthood.
About people. Well, and sometimes after 12 years of parenthood, you are burnt out, right? You're like, can't these people go away?
Right.
But that's, I look at it as really you don't want to do anything anymore. Like it's rough just getting out of bed because you have to, but you don't want to. Like the drive goes away, the joy goes away, and everything is just really just more of a burden, is what I'll say. That's kind of how I look at it. And I think the biggest thing is most of the people that experience burnout are those high achievers usually. And what are high achievers known for? Pushing through, pushing through, pushing through. And what does that do? That makes it worse.
So some of what you described sounds a little bit like some of the symptoms of clinical depression and just kind of a giving up and that sort of thing. Is there a connection there?
I don't know that it's giving up. Sometimes our bodies, when we are in that burnout phase, like our bodies have been giving us clues to rest, to slow down a little bit. And when we ignore those, at some point our body screams at us.
So we cannot ignore it.
Yes. So we have to address it. And so I think it can go into, it just depends on it just depends on everyone's body of what it's going to scream to them. Right. And some it will be high anxiety. It will be depression. It will be blood pressure. It will be heart issues. All of the major things we don't want to think about will happen.
Yeah. And you mentioned that it's chronic. So
yes,
are you saying there's a distinction between I've been working really hard for the last few days and weeks, and I'm just really worn out. But in a few days, I'm going to kind of be back to normal. So that you're not describing that in under the umbrella of burnout.
Correct.
What would you call that?
That is, to me, that is just stress that you're going through right then. So that, your blood pressure comes up, everything is stressful right then, but it's going to go back down and your body returns back to normal. Okay. Right. But the chronic stress is when it all stays up there and it goes on forever.
Are you saying even if the trigger goes away, the condition remains?
If I haven't, not you, but you know what I mean? Like if I haven't changed, the situation goes away, but maybe my mindset hasn't changed, my conditions haven't changed, then yes, it's going to stay if I haven't addressed it.
Okay. So you mentioned blood pressure, but aren't there other early warning signs?
Oh, yeah. To me, any clues that our body is giving us can be warning signs, right? So it can be irritability.
Tell me what those are. I want to do an inventory.
It can be, it can be mood swings. It can be anything like emotional related that you feel like that. It can in your body. It can be headaches. It can be Yep.
Eating,
Easy for me to say.
eating.
Yes,
You speak
exactly.
for a living, right?
Digestive issues.
It can be saying difficult words. Yeah,
yes,
all those things.
the stress you all are putting me under. It can, and now I just lost my train of thought for that. But yes,
Oh, I was just
it
saying,
can be
what are some of the
rashes.
signs?
People get rashes when they are stressed. People get overtired. Like there's so many. What sometimes happens, I feel like, is somewhere along the line we have disconnected our head, like our brains, from our bodies. And so we're thinking what we need to do, what has to get done, all the things. And we are truly not tapping into how our body is responding to how we're living. And we have to make that connection better to help us stay out of the chronic stress that leads to burnout.
Kelly, do you see it as an individual issue, as a company issue? Is it a cultural issue?
So first of all, I think I see it as always. For me, it started individually because I was a high achiever, right? And high achievers are known for overcommitting. They're driven. They always say yes. They're people pleasing. They celebrate hard work. And once they finish one thing, they go right to the next thing. And,
Keep
and
going.
really, yeah.
Check.
And we sacrifice ourselves and for me, my family in the process. And so those behaviors for me led to my own burnout. But here's the organizational issue of that. So I also look at that high achiever tendencies are often rewarded by leaders and culture. Right. And so that's when it becomes just, stay late, do more work at home, say yes to everything, take on more, pick up the slack for the people that aren't doing it. Right. And so that's when it becomes systemic. It switches from burnout's personal to now it's systemic. And who feels it first is typically your top talent.
Right.
And then they start looking for another job and now it's a lose-lose because the company loses and what I've also found is that if you don't address it in yourself, really your mindset and how your behaviors, you're going to go somewhere else and you're going to work somewhere else, and guess what's going to catch up with you? Burnout, because the person hasn't changed.
Yeah, so if that person then goes on to another organization, unless that organization has things in place that would mitigate against that,
Correct.
Same thing is going to happen, and they're going to find out, and that's how you would maybe know that it's a personal thing, not as much an organizational thing.
Yes, and I think organizations have to look at, what is their turnover rate, what is their, who's using their sick policy more than it needs to. Yes, you have it in place, but if that's the culture and you're seeing this happen, then you got to take a good look inside of what's going on, because then it's more than just personally, it really is organizational. And I know that sometimes it can truly stem from a leader. And I had a leader that was like that. And I mean, she would fire off emails at 1 a.m. in the morning, and then we would get to work first thing with a you know what I mean? And like, that's how our day started. And so it was very high pressure. It was, I would say that really affected the culture.
Yeah.
Was she also experiencing burnout, or I don't know, do some of us have a different tolerance so that we might work at one level and it doesn't affect us in that way?
I would say yes to that. I would say everybody's level is different. And I think it also matters what is going on personally, in addition to what is going on with work. And from, top down even more, how are you experiencing the pressure? Would I say that she was experiencing burnout? Not then. Do I think that she was under strain? So I like to look at the bell curve, kind of that efficiency bell curve, and thinking about, are you working in comfort and stretch, or are you strain and burnout? And I would say she was strain heading into burnout is where I would put her.
Yeah. So, what do you think of these quick fixes? I mean, I've seen organizations have massages at lunch and yoga classes, but they're not really fixing the problem, right? They're putting a Band-Aid on.
Correct. Yes, I agree with that. I do agree that that can be a band-aid, and it is also one form of self-care. Like that is a form of self-care. You know
Right.
what I mean? So in that way, it is good that they're providing those things, but are they truly putting a band-aid on it? And I
Yeah.
think that goes back to the, what are they doing in response to their employee engagement? And I like to look at that as the 8 factors of engagement, and where is the disconnect happening in those 8 factors of engagement that are causing people to burn out.
Right. Right. And so I think it's a case, we're all about corporate culture.
Yeah.
I think it's a case of going right back to the culture and saying,
Hmm.
what's wrong with our culture? And then
Yes.
that includes leadership and everybody
Yes.
Yeah,
else.
because if that kind of level is accepted,
Hmm.
then that really becomes part of the culture, doesn't it? It's how we do things, and it's what works for us here.
Hmm.
And if we put that kind of stress on people and they accept that kind of stress
Yes.
and it works for us and we get our results short term, then we learn that that might be part of how we want our culture to be. And then it turns out that there are costs to it. And we
Yeah.
have to determine if those are what kind of, if that's a cost that we're willing to pay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Richard, check your email.
I'm looking at it right now.
If
And
you can,
yeah,
if you can bring it up on the screen,
I'm going to, yeah.
if it's
So
got his picture there too, I'd like to just see
what?
if it's got Rob's picture there too. Either somewhere on that scale that he sent.
It doesn't, no,
Oh,
but
okay.
I know what Rob looks like. I can describe if you
So do
want.
we. We had him on.
No, you had him on. He's been a guest. Let me put this up here. Thank you, Rob. Rob has sent this. I'm trying to find the best way to get it up on the screen, and that's what I'm going to do. So continue talking among yourselves, and I'm going to bring up this this graphic that Rob has just
Okay.
sent.
So talking about culture, if a leader wanted to make one cultural shift right away today, that would kind of reduce stress or burnout in the workplace and increase well-being, what would you suggest?
Part of me thinks that like the common answer is look at the 20% of vital work that needs to be done to move the business forward and let go of the 80%. Okay. That's like the quick action thing. But the other thing really to me to focus on is communication. And looking at communication through the lens of emotional intelligence, right? Because most people are technically trained. We know this, right? But they're not always emotionally trained. And so, emotional intelligence isn't a soft skill, it's a success skill. And with that goes communication. And I think if the biggest thing that could help with the cultural shift is communication, and how are you communicating with the people that you need to be communicating with. And
Yeah.
this is one of the biggest things that in one of my large clients that has like completely changed her firm is communication.
Wow. And you said something that really just stuck with me. It's not soft skills, it's success skills.
Yeah.
I believe that about all what people call soft skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always really bristled at the term soft skills because they're not soft, they're hard.
Right.
But yeah. Well, let me share this that Rob just sent, and Rob, thank you for this. And Kelli, you may certainly have seen this. Let me put it up on the screen. Does everyone see that? The stress performance curve.
Yes, we
Yes,
do.
that's actually exactly what I was talking about.
Okay.
I also look at it as like in a peak performance efficiency curve as well. And I look at that peak performance in there as are you working in comfort and stretch? But what happens is stretch these days has become strain because we don't have enough people in the workforce. There's various reasons, right? Economic reasons, whatever. And so people have moved from stretch to strain, which is strain is way over in the orange over there. And then you stay there too long and now you're in burnout.
Yeah, Richard, I'm definitely in the reds with every other Wednesday. So I'm just going to leave it to you the rest of the day.
It's a lot to do. I think it's interesting though that it talks about that you can have too little stress.
Absolutely. Yes. I call that boredom.
Creates stress in and of itself. If you're not challenged, if you don't feel like what you do is important, you wish you had more to do, or you wish you had something more impactful to do.
Yes.
And then you get into that moderate and the optimal obviously is probably the best. I think would you say, Kelli, that people can operate in that high area for a period of time, but it's not sustainable forever?
In the
They can get into the, the next
the high, yes,
line,
and I feel like
but
that is
not
something.
not the too high. That has a
Correct.
very short half-life.
I think you have to be very aware of, moderate and if we're looking at this, right? My diagram, like I have the bell curve, but I call it different things. But the moderate for this, the moderate and the optimal, that's where we want to be. And I want to say something about the optimal in a minute. But the high, we're going to tip over into that when we're reaching deadlines,
Sure.
when you know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
then recognizing that and pulling ourselves back. But I think one of the biggest things is that the moderate, right? Look at moderate. Engaged, focused, motivated. Okay. I call this comfort. Okay. But what happens? What do we always hear? You should
Get out of your
Get
comfort
outside your
out of
comfort.
your
Yeah,
comfort zone,
comfort.
right?
The idea of comfort really has been saddled with a negative connotation.
Yes, correct. And so then we start doing everything in stretch or optimal. And then that at some point we're like, yep, now I can take on more because I'm used to this, right? I'm used to optimal. And then I start moving into high instead of really thinking about how can I work? How can I be? How can I live in between moderate and optimal so that we're not always in stretch? There is some comfort going on. There's some comfort and some stretch.
Let me just put it out to our audience.
Yeah.
In the chat box, put what color you typically operate in at work, and we'll call it green and urine green.
Well, or you can just use the words low, moderate, optimal.
Okay,
high.
that's better. You're right. Okay. See, I was coloring outside the lines. You won't even let me. So
if our friend Jerry Gitchell were on the call today, he would be able to say they all look like the same color to me.
yeah,
So.
we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, put in which one.
I mean, obviously, optimal sounds just sounds fun. It sounds great. I love that. But I often feel I'm often in the orange range. I don't think I'm often in the bright red range. I'm really not. I've never worked that hard, really. But I think I do sometimes. I spend a lot of time in that orange zone.
So at 2:30 this morning, I was definitely in that bright red because I woke up and I'm thinking, oh no, I didn't get that done. I got to get that done tomorrow. How am I going to do that? That kind of thing. And I think it happens to all of us. So I believe it's a moving target. You can't just. It'd be great if you could stay in the optimal.
Yeah. What are we getting? I don't have enough screens here to know what we're getting.
Oh, we're getting mostly optimal. So,
yeah.
Fritz says he's been running orange for some time, and he's trying to go back to optimal. So, Shannon, she's usually moderate or optimal. And then events, yeah, sure. Events happen.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, hey, Rob, thank you for sharing that with us. That gives us a little something visual to look at. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to unshare it. So
Kelli, while he's doing that, I know that you believe that culture drives engagement, and we love to hear that. Which one of the two elements? which two elements, like trust or care, resources, do you see as most critical?
Yeah. So I like to look at, when I think about engagement, for myself and like small, medium businesses that I work with, we look at the 8 factors of engagement, right? So thinking about that: purpose, accountability, recognition, care, trust, development, resources, and agility. And in those, when I think about burnout, like they're all important. No, I feel like it comes down to care, because is a leader, is an organization caring about the people, or are they just caring about the output? Right? So I think a big one is care. I also think resources are essential, because if you don't have the tools, the time, the resources to truly do what you need to do, then you're going to be running in the too high almost. You're going to be, overwhelmed, frazzled, all the things that it said over there. So
that includes human resources too, right? If you don't have enough people.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, correct. Absolutely. Your connections around you as well. And then I think when those two can be constantly provided, then can come a little more trust in the organization, within relationships with each other. And then when you have the trust factor, I think stress in general goes down and burnout can be alleviated from trust.
Yeah. I'm working with an organization right now, a very large real estate company in Atlanta. And they talk a lot about the trust, the cultural foundation. And what has to go into that foundation? If you're building a house, which is very appropriate to, you know, the walls won't stand unless you're putting the right things into that foundation, of which it's all the things you just talked about: resources, trust.
Yep.
And they have a lot of graphics around the office that show those kinds of things. So, you know, you're spot on.
Yeah, I think those are important. And when we think about actual engagement, I think it's so important for companies to be doing diagnostics on those. I do know a lot of larger companies have their own employee engagement, diagnostic assessment, whatever people are checking in. Sometimes it's the smaller and mid-sized companies that don't have that resource. But I think that's so important, because if not, you're missing out and you're literally throwing spaghetti at the wall of, a pizza party will fix it. Well, that's not fixing it, right? The
Yeah.
massage chairs will fix it. Well, that's not
Right.
fixing it. Do you really know the data? And I think that is so important, to be able to have something that you can collect data and numbers on employee engagement.
By the way, you're preaching to the choir, because
Yes.
Richard's company actually does those assessments and
Yes.
measurements.
Yes.
So
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we really look through a lot, especially in terms of the comments that people put in and we can, we can just see when there's just almost expressing desperation, just, oh, help me, I want to do a good job, but I just feel like I'm on a treadmill and I just can't catch my breath.
You know what sometimes I have experienced too, is that we often there's some blame that can go to HR, right? About culture and engagement. You know what I mean? Like, it's their thing.
Yeah, no, it's got to be.
And
Oh,
I
yeah. It's got to
sometimes,
be the leader's thing. It's got to
well,
be.
I also
Yeah.
think in addition to the leaders, I think if I'm a part of that company, I have to have some accountability in there
Yeah.
also, right? I need to know, how engaged am I? What's my data? And where's it like, oh, wow, look at me.
Yeah.
Like, I could really stand to, have more accountability. Or look, to me, recognize, like, for me, I'm someone that I do like outward recognition. I know that about myself. I like it. That's just the way I am. If I'm not getting that and that's falling short for me, then I'm going to be disengaged. And if I can share that with my leader, with whoever needs to know that, then it can happen, because I'm communicating with them what I need, because I've taken I don't know how long your assessment is, Richard. Mine's 24 questions, right? It's so simple that,
Yeah.
and then you have that feedback. And I think it's a great way, to then go in and be able to talk to, when you have your one-on-one, it's a way for leaders to make their team stronger, and me if I was an employee, to be stronger.
And to go back to
one sec, I just want to say, Kelly, we think you're amazing. You look great. You're speaking well.
we want to give you some positive
We want to
feedback
give you some
right now,
recognition
some
right now.
recognition.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I will say one thing, just so if anybody's, like looking at, my name is with an I, in case you ever go to try to find me, Kelly with an I. And here's why I say that. Kelly with a Y is my sister-in-law, and you'll find her and not me.
So why does it say Kelly with a Y on your screen?
I don't know. That's not, because my Zoom always says Kelly with an I. So I don't know. And I don't
Did
know.
I put it in wrong? Oh, I'm usually so meticulous about that. I'm sorry.
It's
It
okay.
is Kelly. I knew that. It's Kelly with an I. It's
But Kelly with a
Risse.
Y, you'll find my sister-in-law is also Kelli Risse.
That's funny. By the way, Kelly, my wife is Judy and my sister-in-law is Judy. So
Yes,
with the
there
same
you go.
last name. So
Yes.
and
But
they
anyway,
both-
thank you for the recognition.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that.
You're
I feel good today.
Well, we can rename you right now. Hang on a second.
Well, while you're doing that, Kelly, he's doing that.
How's
in
that?
a
Is
lot
that
of
better?
Organizations, employees feel that like they can't say no.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you say, what does a culture of always yes create in the long run?
Yeah, and that goes back to the always saying it's tricky, because work does need to get done. But I think that when we're always saying yes, then nothing is done about it. Right? Like if I'm taking on all the things and saying yes, and really things either need to be dumped, they need to be delegated, the 4 Ds, right? If I'm always saying yes, that never happens. So I have to take responsibility. And at some point, this goes back to communication, right? This goes back to the communication. And I think that we have to make sure that we are not promoting, helping, what's the word I'm looking for? Something, the grind and hustle culture, right? Because the more employees play into that and continue to say yes, then it just keeps going. The hard part about that is the work does have to get done, but it's how it gets done. And is there I like to say succeed with ease. Like, let's shift into, that's why I talk about high achiever to peak performers. Because when we're peak performers, we do have healthier boundaries in place and we're managing our energy better. I like to think about energy management over time management. And when little things like that, focus on doing better, maybe not focus on doing more, focus on doing better, can it change to not having to say yes as much? Okay, but Carol said,
Oh, we've got some really good comments here. Yeah. So Carol says,
wait, go back to Fritz.
Yeah,
Fritz says you cannot say no if your yes is meaningless.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I like that.
Then Carol says, but even if your yes is meaningless, the company may not care. That's absolutely.
They just want you to get the task done, right?
That's absolutely true.
And that's where we go back to, is the company way more results driven, or are they people driven, or is there a nice blend of both, right?
And I wonder sometimes if they're activity driven, because I make a big distinction between activity and outcomes. And sometimes, a manager will say, well, if you're not doing this, and that at these number of hours a day, then you're not being productive. But rather than looking at the other end to see what's the productivity, input does not always equal output. You mentioned something a moment ago, the 4 Ds, and you said delegate, dump. What are the other 2 Ds?
Delegate, do yourself.
You do.
Are you going to do it? Delegate, dump it, or well, really it's automate. That's not a D.
Okay.
Can you duplicate? Can you duplicate it?
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Great. Yeah. Okay. Defer. Yeah. Anna says defer, perhaps. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Let's stop for just a second and do go back and pick up some of these comments if we can, because like I said, I told you
we have a brilliant audience.
I told you our audience is going to carry this for us, and they do. I'm still going back to the glass of wine for Anna. This is not a glass of wine, although it may look like it.
You're in the South. That's we know what that is.
Oh, this is water with those drops that you put.
Oh, it's not iced tea.
It's not iced tea. I don't drink sweet tea. Are you kidding?
Okay.
Okay. So, Rob, So Anna mentions, interestingly, companies are starting to use AI to track data signs like this, and this was back in the part of the conversation, Kelly, when you were talking about those physical manifestations of burnout.
Yes.
And as Anna acknowledges, it comes close to snooping, but hopefully it'll be used in the right way. Stephen has asked Anna if she could build on the AI program or process used to track the issue. So that's something that, Anna, if you have the opportunity to comment maybe on Stephen's question there.
Anna's commenting about something, but she's speaking UK.
Well, if you need any help with that, if you need any help with that, I can translate.
Okay.
Okay. And then everybody's talking about their own different colors on that scale.
Yeah.
Rob says it's a moving target for him. And then, we were talking about that it is everyone's responsibility, engagement, not just the organizations, not just the leaders, also my own. And then, because I like to get positive reinforcement, I'm going to read aloud what Rob said when he said, I like to share that I find EOW a positive anchor. Every 2 weeks, this group helps me center and reframe, thanks to host and fellow participants. And that is absolutely on the people in our audience. You help center me and Jeff, and Sanjay's a little bit beyond help, but Mike too, I know.
Yeah, no, the problem is that what he said is followed usually by, but don't tell anybody, it's a great secret. Yeah. We need you to tell people.
We want you to, because the more the merrier, the more framing and recentering we can have.
Exactly. Stephen wants to know, Kelly, if your survey is different for leaders versus workers,
Uh,
or I see.
Yeah, no, everyone takes the same assessment, the same
Okay.
24 questions.
Excellent.
And there are questions in there that reference leaders, individuals, and the organization within the questions.
Right.
Yep.
So if you could give leaders just one practical action that they can take, I know I kind of asked this already, but I think you kind of skirted it. So, what could they do right now that's easy that would at least get them on the road to tackling burnout as a
And are we
challenge?
looking at for ourselves, for them personally, or for the
No, for the
organization?
organization. Sorry.
For the
And that would
organization.
assume that the leader wants, and I don't want to be so cynical. I don't want to be so cynical to say that there are not leaders who want to. I think there clearly are, and they don't know how to help. But I think we have to acknowledge there probably are some leaders who would say, "Oh, I don't care if you burn out or not, as long as you're getting it done right now." That is not the kind of leader we want to promote in terms of a positive culture. But on with your question, yeah, if there
So
are those who would like to.
you know, in my book, 24, it's called Mindset Mastery, 25 Principles to Outsmart Burnout. So I feel like there's 25 principles that can really help you, because to me, it does start with mindset, right? And I think the mindset has to be of the leaders of the organization so that it can trickle down. I also feel like there are four, to me, pillars that are important so that people don't hit burnout. And a lot of times when we think about burnout, we often just think, like, I go to self-care, right? Like our well-being. And that's one of them. So to me, it's mindset, focus, well-being, and connection. And those four things need to be in place. So I think it's really taking a look at all four areas, and in the organization or in your team, are you focused on all four things? Because if you're only focused on the focus part, which is the productivity, then my guess is, where's the mindset? Where's the connection with people? Where's the well-being? So to me, all four of them, that's where you have to start, is you have to look at
Can you articulate those four pillars again? I'm going to put them in the chat.
yes. So they are mindset, focus, well-being, and connection.
I want to ask you about connection. Sometimes leaders look at that and go, "It's fluff." Yeah, well, celebrating a birthday, with a cake, or going bowling after work. But of all four of those, are any of them prioritized in your mind? Are they most important? And where does connection fall?
um, for organizations, I think connection is one of the most important to start with. Okay. That's what I would say with organizations. And I say that because to me, within the connection realm falls emotional intelligence,
Mhm.
communication, and how are we truly communicating with people? And we are around people, and people usually cause us the most stress.
Yeah. The job
Right.
would be great if it wasn't for the people.
So I think that one is, of utmost importance, followed very closely by the rest.
Right. Well, I
Yeah,
think also in there you've got psychological safety, I think, too.
for
Yes.
sure. Yeah.
Feel, that they can talk openly and discuss their feelings. I think that's part of the connection as well.
Did you see Fritz's comment that working for an emotionally burnt out leader can be a miserable life? I can imagine that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. I was going back to where he put that. Yes.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
I was just reading Anna's comment as well
Yeah.
about predicting burnout with AI in answer to Stephen's question.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But again, isn't a lot of this predicated on the fact that the organization sees burnout as a bad thing and would like to avoid it and mitigate against it when possible?
Yes, and 100% agree. And I also think, what does the organization see as burnout? Right? Do
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, where do they start identifying, or
Yeah.
are they waiting until, like, oh, now people are
Well, he can't,
leaving, chronic
yeah,
illness, but you know
yeah,
what I mean? Like, is it too late?
yeah.
Here's the thing, of your four pillars again, somewhere we've made a shift from the word burnout to mental health. And I
Hmm.
think that's when I start to look at your four pillars, I'm thinking that's really only well-being, and that's only one of the four.
Hmm.
So, burnout really does encompass those four pillars. I think it's great, but I don't know where
Yeah.
the shift came from.
It, yeah. I think, well, at one point, I feel like with especially, I'm just going to call it out, social media, right? And often younger people than us, when they are going on, and it's
Are
always,
there such people?
and it's, I'm overwhelmed, I'm anxious, like anxious about everything, right? And so then that turned into the mental health type movement.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of when that happened, and then crises in the world and all of that shifted. But something else you said, there was a point I was gonna bring up. I'll think about it in a minute. Give
Oh,
Well,
me a
yeah,
no,
there
you
second.
are
always
there are
bring out
outside factors. Clearly, there's things going on in families, personally.
Yes.
There's health that may not be related to burnout,
Hmm.
and there is what's going on in the world
Hmm.
that probably, I don't know if it reduces people's threshold, their tolerance, or if it perhaps adds to it and causes people to reach burnout at a stage in which they might not otherwise do.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Richard, you've got a great point because we've been talking about, this is burnout as it relates to a corporate setting. But again, I'm going back to your four pillars. If I just did that personally, focused on my mindset, the focus, the connecting, the well-being, I could change me because I got to, like you said, it's about the IC, it's about the
Yeah,
individual
yeah, we've
contributing
got to
to.
take personal responsibility.
Exactly, which involves
Uh,
your personal and professional life.
sure, yeah. Of course,
Yes.
that's
And
easy for us to sit and say here. If we're forced with, do I quit my job or face, serious health concerns? And a lot of people would feel pressured not to leave their job because they've got all these people depending on them.
Yeah.
right. Right.
Kelli, well, we're kind of wrapping up. Is there any one client or any one company or organization you've worked with that you saw a huge change because what did they do?
Yeah. So for me, I work with a lot of small businesses on their way
Mhm.
to medium businesses, and kind of work in that scaling, the
Mhm.
scale. Like the scale is where pressure comes in, all
Yeah,
things.
I would see that would be a vulnerable area, as we
Yes.
might be doing fine now. We're going to scale up, and then
Yes, exactly. And so I think when I talked about, the leader came to me, the owner, the founder, and she specifically said, if I don't stop working this way, I'm going to die in 5 years. Okay. She's like, I won't make it. Like, she knows that of herself. So first of all, that was huge. Like, awareness, self-awareness. So
Right.
then she got help, and we started coaching together. And from there, what I could see by us coaching together is some communication breakdown between her and her directors. And so then it's bringing in things like the disc. Right? Do you know the behavior? Whatever can help you know your team better. And then she realized, for those of you that know the disc, she was the only high D in the entire organization. So she's
Wow.
like, whoa, like it
Right.
made sense, right? It just made sense because it kind of validated what she was feeling. Then we worked on then how to really shift communication with those people, with her director specifically, and then what can they do? And because of her putting herself as a priority and recognizing that if she doesn't start doing some personal self-care, and she's also I know what I was going to say earlier. It's the mindset of, and how many of are guilty of this? No pain, no gain.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
No
yeah,
pain, no gain, right? And like
yeah. So
people
we put ourselves through
they
pain, and
will
then we are not
die.
capable of gain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they will die on that stake of no pain, no
yeah,
gain. And
yeah,
so I like to flip it, and I like to say no pain, more gain. You can
Right.
have more gain when you're not in that much pain and stress and right? So
That,
Well,
anyway,
That's great. And we will leave it with
Yeah.
that rhyming phrase. No pain, more gain. I'm
Well,
going
no
to
pain, no pain, no gain. I looked around up for my dad, so because that was his
No,
favorite
thank
saying.
you for that, Kelly. Thank you. Wow. I told you the time would go by really fast. I told you
yeah.
our great audience would absolutely be engaged in this.
Always.
And I didn't tell you this, but now I'm telling you that you provided us with a great deal of perspective and information, and really appreciate your discussion here on burnout. And I hope
Yes.
that I'm going to be able to apply this to me and not be burned out.
Right. Absolutely. Kelly, thank you so much. I
Yes.
think it was
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you for having me. You guys are fantastic. Love the show.
Thank you. Thank you. And the
Yeah.
next time we're going to be back, what's the next date? Can you add 1 in 14, Jeff? I know you can. You're from Pittsburgh.
October 1st. It's around the 15th, I think.
It's going to be very close to the 15th. That's when we're going to see you. But just in general, when do we see everybody, Jeff?
Wait, before you say that, I
Yeah.
just want to wish everybody who's celebrating a Jewish New Year, Happy New Year.
Yes. And
Okay.
those of us who don't celebrate, can we celebrate with you?
Absolutely. Celebrate
Well,
every day.
I'm always up for a celebration of something meaningful. Good.
And what was the question?
The question is, when do we generally get together? We know it's October 15th the next time, but in general, we will see you when? Every other Wednesday. Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
See you next time. Bye.
See ya.